The Voice of Babaji. I love this book. Can't recommend it enough to everybody. And it's actually a chapter about the man himself, Swami Vivekananda. I thought it was a great description of Swami and Swami's description on life and this incarnation. So, yeah, I'm going to read this quick excerpt and we can digest it afterwards. And, yeah, hope you like it. Swami Vivekananda has often been described as a healer, and he followed a method in the realm of spiritual healing akin to the one obtained in his day in the science of the diagnosis and cure of physical disease. His confirmed verdict was that sorrow was co-evolved with life. Swamiji had already known before he started on his spiritual quest that certain phases of life were painful, e.g., disease, old age, and death. But as a result of his own experiments with life and the illumination, he came to realize that life itself is sorrow, is dukkha. This, however, is not to confess defeat and live ignobly and in pessimism. He pointed out that life is sorrow only to show mankind a way out of it. I like that, right? Our suffering is to enable us to, per se, escape the suffering, to change up the viewpoint on this human condition. Once Vivekananda asked, "How is there laughter? How is there joy, as the world is always burning? Why do you not seek light, ye who are surrounded by darkness?" Seek light. And then observed, "This body is wasted, full of sickness and frail. This heap of corruption breaks to pieces. Life indeed ends in death." What noble observations! Can there be any better? Suffering can be eradicated only if it is traced to its cause. It must have a cause, because nothing is uncaused, and every phenomenon must depend on certain conditions. The chain of existence is said to consist of 12 links. Of these, 2 most important ones are thirst, Trishna, and ignorance, avidya. It is the craving for existence born of the false sense of I that leads to life and its miseries. It is only when the root cause, ignorance, and its offshoots are destroyed that one attains freedom. This is yet another truth. The wheel of samsara keeps on rotating because of ignorance and desire. But when viveka sets in the removal of suffering, But when viveka, I don't know that word. I think it's a Sanskrit word. Viveka, viveka, sets in the removal of suffering. But when viveka sets in the removal of suffering is possible. Okay, a little tricky with that sentence. As a phenomenon depends on its conditions, so when those conditions are removed, it must disappear. Get to the source. What is the source of suffering? Right? He's describing the Four Noble Truths pretty much. There is suffering. There's a cause for it. What's the cause? It's pretty simple. The original cause of suffering is ignorance. When that is dispelled, the succeeding links of the chain snap and one attains freedom from sorrow. This state is called nirvana. The term means coolness and rest and cessation of the flux of being. I really like that. A very simple one sentence explanation of nirvana, right? Let me read that again. This state is called nirvana. The term means coolness and rest and cessation of the flux of being. Calm, cool, collected, going with the flow, going with the Tao. That's nirvana, right? At least that's what it seems like from an outside point of view. You're cool, man. Cessation of the flux of being. Just going with the change. Life is change. The only constant we have is change. All is temporary. You flow with that temporary nature. I like that, man. I like that a lot. It signifies deliverance and freedom from birth, vimukti. Incidentally, it may be stated that the two extremes are there, which the recluse must avoid: the life of passion and of sensuality on one hand, a low and pagan way, ignoble and profiting nothing, and on the other hand, self-torture, which is also ignoble and unprofitable, as well as very painful. But there is a way out of it all through right faith, right action, right living, right effort, right thought, and right concentration. This is Buddhism. The scope of the entire discipline of spiritualism may be indicated by the two words sila and prajna, which mean respectively good conduct and intuitive insight. The root cause of suffering, which is avidya or ignorance, can be destroyed only by prajna or intuitive wisdom. I like that. But it must, however, be borne in mind that this wisdom is not mere theoretical knowledge. It can be achieved only by good conduct or sila, which includes such virtues as loving kindness, compassion, cheerfulness, and impartiality. So then, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Love all, and serve the Lord in all. Be self-disciplined, simple, and harmonious in thoughts, feelings, diet, and dress. Fear none and shake off lethargy, laziness, and fear. Bondage itself is the fruit of weakness, born of spiritual and moral disintegration. Let me read that last line one more time. Bondage itself is the fruit of weakness, born of spiritual and moral disintegration. So our suffering is from how we conduct ourselves. So first you have to become aware, and you have to admit it. Admit the truth. Say, wait a sec, man. What's going on? Well, what's going on is we're in a decaying body that has a lot of troubles. There's a lot of things that are going to happen to this. A lot of shit's going to happen in our life. All right? Why? Where does this come from? It comes from us not conducting ourselves in the correct way. Going against the grain. Against our true nature. Against the Tao, maybe you can say. And some say it's from previous lifetimes. Everything that we reap, we have sowed in previous lifetimes because of ill conduct. So it seems to be the end of suffering is, yes, realizing that ignorance is to cause the suffering. And from that ignorance, we act in ways that are negligent to our own peace. We don't even know. And that's karma. It seems pretty simple, right? It makes sense. It's what all the sages say. Our desires for material things and narratives. That's what causes our suffering. But there's a way out. And that's what's great. First, you gotta admit you're in the shit, man. You're in the matrix. You gotta take the red pill. First, you gotta admit that. Swallow that pill. And once you swallow the pill, you say, wait a sec. Okay. Now what? Now what? That's a spiritual awakening. You swallow the pill and you say, now what? And you know, all the spiritual stuff of astrology and occultism, like we talked about, and yoga poses. I mean, not yoga. I like yoga, but you know, the whole spiritual gamut, right? The whole almost lifestyle, I guess. Everything that's involved in spirituality, new age spirituality nowadays. There's a lot of BS to it. And if it's not helping you attain a sense of peace, to liberate your experience, your incarnation from that sense of suffering, then what's it really good for? You know? Because it's pretty simple. When you look at the Four Noble Truths, it's pretty simple, man. And it makes sense. And you go inside, You will find that intuitive wisdom that will guide you, that will guide your Buddhi mind, Budhi, I think it's spelled, Buddi. Your discernment, you will be able to discern that this is true. All right? There's something in you, in me, that will say these noble truths are noble truths for a reason. And you can't just read that and be like, oh, yeah, okay. No, you have to analyze that within yourself. Analyze those noble truths within, and your intuition will say, yeah, that's true. Oh, I get it now. It all makes sense. All of this stuff has to be treated like a science. The holy science. The science of the self. Learn from others that have also done it in the past, and then go within with the same, the same game plan. And analyze it. And find out that that is the truth, man. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For everything that we do, we're building our karma. We are literally the ones that enable our own suffering, because we're not living according to God. We're not living according to the flow. We're building our own inertia. And at this point in time, we either get with the program, or we're going to keep going on the cycle of samsara. We're going to be on the hamster wheel forever. It's an endless cycle, but we can end it right here, right now, right here, right now. I mean, it might take some time, some meditation time, but you can make the conscious decision to say, you know what? There's got to be a different way. And there is. And I'm going to choose to live in a different way, to simplify my life, to really get to the root of who I am, what's really going on here, and why it seems so shitty sometimes. Sometimes it's not. It's not. I don't think it is. It's all perspective. This whole journey is perspective, man. The conscious perspective. Come to that conscious perspective, and you don't go back, man. You don't go back. There's no going back. That's the thing. You know, all of these quote-unquote truths, once you swallow the pill, you can't regurgitate it. There's no going back into the matrix. You can't take the blue pill. You can try, but that's going to create even more inertia. You can try. You can try. We can all try.